Jae-hyuk Park walked into the gleaming showroom of Quantum Rentals, his footsteps echoing against the polished floor. The room smelled of new leather and expensive technology, a scent that mixed promise with something slightly artificial. He was dressed in a simple navy blazer and dark jeans, looking more like an engineer than a potential high-end vehicle renter. The showroom was different from what he expected. Sleek hover vehicles lined the space, their curves reflecting light in ways that seemed almost impossible. Each vehicle looked less like a machine and more like a living sculpture, with surfaces that seemed to shimmer and change depending on how the light hit them. Won-seok Kim, the sales representative, approached with a practiced smile. He was tall, well-dressed, and moved with the smooth confidence of someone who sold more than just vehicles. "Good afternoon," he said, extending his hand. "Looking for something special today?" Jae-hyuk's eyes scanned the room. Something felt off. His years of engineering had trained him to notice details others might miss. The vehicles weren't just advanced, they were unnaturally perfect. Each one seemed to have a complexity that went beyond standard Earth technology. "I'm interested in your latest hover model," Jae-hyuk responded, his voice calm and measured. He watched Won-seok's reaction carefully. The sales representative's smile didn't quite reach his eyes. Won-seok led him to a midnight blue vehicle that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "This is our premium quantum drive model," he explained, touching a panel that instantly illuminated with holographic specifications. "It's unlike anything you've seen before." Jae-hyuk noticed something peculiar. Microscopic circuits embedded in the vehicle's surface were arranged in patterns that didn't match any standard technological design he knew. They looked almost organic. "May I see the technical specifications?" Jae-hyuk asked, his engineering instincts now fully alert. Won-seok hesitated for just a millisecond, a pause most people would never notice. "Of course," he said, handing over a digital tablet. But as Jae-hyuk scrolled through the documents, he realized the specifications were a carefully constructed illusion. The rental agreement was complex, filled with legal language that seemed designed to confuse rather than clarify. Hidden within paragraphs were clauses that suggested this wasn't just a vehicle rental, but something far more intricate. Jae-hyuk's fingers moved across the tablet, zooming and analyzing. His background in advanced aerospace engineering wasn't just a profession, it was a lens through which he saw the world. And right now, that lens was revealing something extraordinary. The vehicle before him wasn't just a machine. It was a puzzle, a technology that seemed to exist between known scientific principles and something entirely unknown. Won-seok watched him, his professional smile now slightly strained. "Is everything all right?" he asked, a hint of tension in his voice. "Everything is interesting," Jae-hyuk responded, his mind already connecting invisible dots. What began as a simple vehicle rental was transforming into something far more complex. The showroom, with its perfect lighting and immaculate display, suddenly felt like a stage for a performance Jae-hyuk was just beginning to understand. Little did Won-seok know, the seemingly ordinary engineer standing before him was about to unravel a technological mystery that extended far beyond a simple rental transaction. Jae-hyuk Park wasn't just going to rent a vehicle, he was going to expose a secret that could change everything humanity understood about technology and its origins. The hover vehicle gleamed, its surface holding secrets waiting to be discovered. And Jae-hyuk was exactly the right person to uncover them. Back in his small apartment laboratory, Jae-hyuk carefully connected the diagnostic equipment to the data chip he'd discreetly extracted from the hover vehicle system. The room was quiet, with only the soft hum of sophisticated electronics breaking the silence. His computer screen flickered to life, displaying a complex network of signals that looked nothing like standard communication protocols. These weren't just random frequencies, they were structured, deliberate, almost alive with a strange intelligence. Jae-hyuk noticed something unusual. Embedded within what seemed like ordinary data transmission were microscopic communication nodes that didn't match any Earth-based technology. Each signal pulsed with a rhythm that suggested an origin far beyond human understanding. He zoomed into one signal strand. The patterns were intricate, showing mathematical precision that went beyond current human technological capabilities. Some sequences looked mathematical, while others resembled complex biological communication patterns. His colleague Minha often joked that Jae-hyuk could read technology like other people read books. Today, those skills were about to reveal something extraordinary. As he traced the signal origins, strange coordinates began appearing. They didn't match any known satellite or communication network. These signals seemed to originate from somewhere else. Not from Earth, not from any traditional human communication infrastructure. One particular frequency caught his attention. It carried a subtle encryption that seemed to shift and change, almost like a living language. Traditional decryption methods would fail, but Jae-hyuk had developed specialized algorithms during his research work. Hours passed. Coffee cups accumulated. His apartment transformed into a maze of screens, each displaying different aspects of the mysterious signals. What started as a simple vehicle rental investigation was becoming something much larger. The signals suggested a network, not just a simple communication system, but a complex exchange platform that seemed to move information across vast distances. Each transmission carried fragments of technological data, mathematical sequences, and something that resembled technological DNA. Jae-hyuk realized these weren't just random signals. They were carefully constructed messages, designed to look random to an untrained eye. But to someone with his background, they were a sophisticated communication system. He discovered something even more startling. The signals contained references to technological exchanges, not between human companies, but between something far more complex. Fragments suggested an interstellar trading network that used vehicle rentals as a cover. Quantum Rentals wasn't just a car rental company. It was a front for something much bigger. Each decoded fragment revealed more questions than answers. References to technological trading, hints of non-human communication protocols, and encrypted data that suggested multiple intelligent species were involved in some form of technological exchange. Jae-hyuk's hands moved swiftly across the keyboard. He was documenting everything, creating a trail of evidence that would be impossible to ignore. This wasn't just a discovery. It was potentially humanity's first concrete evidence of organized extraterrestrial technological communication. The more he decoded, the more complex the picture became. These weren't just random signals. They were a carefully constructed communication network that used Earth's infrastructure as a disguise. As dawn approached, Jae-hyuk sat back, his mind racing. The hover vehicle wasn't just a machine. It was a messenger, a node in a vast, hidden network that operated right under humanity's nose. Something big was happening, and he was about to expose it. The signals continued to pulse, indifferent to the human who had just begun to understand their true nature. Each frequency told a story of technology beyond human imagination, of exchanges happening in shadows, of a universe far more complex than anyone had ever imagined. Jae-hyuk knew one thing for certain. Nothing would be the same after today. The conference room at the University Research Center felt tense. Jae-hyuk stood before a group of skeptical colleagues, his presentation loaded with encrypted data and complex signal patterns. Minha sat in the back, her legal expertise ready to support his claims. These aren't just random signals, Jae-hyuk explained, his fingers moving across the holographic display. Each projection showed intricate communication networks that seemed to dance between mathematical precision and biological complexity. Professor Kim, the department head, looked increasingly uncomfortable. The evidence Jae-hyuk presented challenged everything they understood about technological communication. The signals from the Quantum Rentals hover vehicle were unlike anything in human scientific records. Suddenly, the room's electronics began to behave strangely. Screens flickered. Computers hummed with an unusual frequency. It was as if the very presentation was triggering a response from the hidden technology Jae-hyuk had discovered. A warning message appeared briefly on the main screen. written in a language that was neither human nor completely alien, just for a moment. Then it vanished. Only Jae-hyuk saw it clearly. "They know we're investigating," he whispered to Minha. Outside the conference room, a black SUV pulled up. Two men in perfectly pressed suits watched the building. They weren't typical university security. Their movements were too precise, too calculated. Jae-hyuk's research had touched something big. The technological network he discovered wasn't just a simple communication system. It was a complex exchange platform that used Earth's infrastructure as a disguise. Back in the conference room, Professor Kim finally spoke. "This is impossible," he said, but his voice lacked conviction. The evidence was too strong, too detailed to be dismissed. Minha began organizing the documentation. Each piece of evidence was carefully logged, creating a trail that would be difficult to erase. She understood the legal implications of what Jae-hyuk had discovered. The signals suggested an interstellar trading network that used vehicle rentals as a cover. Quantum Rentals wasn't just a car rental company. It was a node in a much larger, more complex system. As the day progressed, strange things began to happen. Jae-hyuk's personal devices started showing unexpected interference. Phone calls became distorted. Computer systems experienced unexplained glitches. Someone, or something, was trying to suppress the information. That evening, Jae-hyuk received an unmarked envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper with coordinates and a cryptic message: "Stop investigating, or consequences will follow." But Jae-hyuk wasn't someone who backed down easily. His entire career had been about pushing boundaries, understanding the unknown. This threat only confirmed that his discovery was significant. Minha analyzed the envelope. No fingerprints, no traceable origin, just a clear warning. "They want to scare us," she told Jae-hyuk. "But we have something they don't expect." The technological confrontation had begun. What started as a simple vehicle rental investigation was now a battle that would determine the boundaries of human technological understanding. Jae-hyuk looked at the mysterious coordinates. They didn't match any known location on Earth. Something was waiting. Something wanted to be discovered. As night fell, the signals continued to pulse. Hidden. Waiting. Challenging humanity's understanding of technology and communication. The real investigation was just beginning. In the darkness of his apartment, surrounded by screens and complex equipment, Jae-hyuk prepared for what would come next. The technological confrontation was no longer just a scientific investigation. It was a declaration of humanity's right to understand. The courthouse was a fortress of glass and steel, reflecting the morning sunlight like a mirror of justice. Jae-hyuk sat beside Minha, their evidence carefully organized in digital files and physical documents. Quantum Rentals' legal team occupied the opposite table, a group of expensive suits that looked more like corporate warriors than lawyers. "We're not just fighting a rental company," Minha whispered to Jae-hyuk. "We're challenging an entire hidden system." The judge, a stern woman with sharp eyes, watched the proceedings carefully. Something about this case felt different. It wasn't a typical corporate lawsuit. It was becoming a battle about technological sovereignty. Quantum Rentals' lead lawyer, Mr. Park, began his defense. "These are baseless accusations," he declared, his voice smooth and controlled. "My client is a legitimate business with standard rental practices." But Jae-hyuk knew better. Each piece of evidence told a different story. The hover vehicle's communication systems, the hidden frequencies, the complex signal networks, they were all proof of something much larger. Minha presented their first piece of critical evidence: encrypted data streams that showed multiple communication layers within the vehicle's system. These weren't just standard technological components. They were sophisticated communication nodes that didn't match any known human technology. The courtroom grew tense. Experts called to examine the evidence looked confused, then increasingly concerned. Mr. Park's confident smile began to crack. "We have proof," Jae-hyuk explained, "that Quantum Rentals is operating a technology exchange network that goes far beyond standard vehicle rentals." Digital presentations showed complex signal patterns, mathematical sequences that suggested communication with non-human technological systems. Each slide revealed another layer of the hidden network. Mr. Park tried to object, but the evidence was overwhelming. The judge leaned forward, her interest clearly piqued. This was no longer a simple lawsuit. It was an investigation into a potential technological conspiracy. Minha's legal strategy was brilliant. She wasn't just presenting evidence. She was constructing a narrative that challenged everything people understood about technology and communication. Quantum Rentals representatives began to look nervous. Whispered conversations, uncomfortable glances. The confident facade was crumbling. Outside the courthouse, unmarked vehicles watched. Unknown individuals monitored the proceedings. Something significant was happening. Something that went far beyond a simple legal battle. Jae-hyuk noticed strange interference with their communication devices. Electronic signals would momentarily distort. Mysterious frequencies would briefly interrupt their technology. "They're trying to disrupt our presentation," Minha said quietly. But they were prepared. Each piece of evidence was backed up. Multiple copies, multiple locations. The truth was becoming impossible to hide. The judge requested additional technical experts. Independent researchers would examine the evidence. The lawsuit was transforming into a full investigation. Mr. Park's final argument was weak. "These are theoretical claims," he insisted, but his voice lacked conviction. Jae-hyuk knew they had won more than a legal battle. They were challenging a system that had operated in shadows, a network that used Earth's infrastructure as a disguise for something much larger. As the day concluded, the courthouse buzzed with speculation. Journalists gathered. Technology experts discussed the implications. Something massive was unfolding. Minha squeezed Jae-hyuk's hand. "We did it," she whispered. The legal warfare was more than a lawsuit. It was humanity's declaration of technological independence, a challenge to unknown forces operating within human systems. The signals continued to pulse. Hidden, waiting, challenging. Humanity had just taken its first step into a larger, more complex technological understanding. The global press conference was unlike anything anyone had seen before. Jae-hyuk and Minha stood on a platform surrounded by government officials, scientific experts, and international media. The evidence they had collected was about to change humanity's understanding of technology forever. "We are not alone," Jae-hyuk began, his voice steady and clear. "And we are not passive recipients of technological knowledge." Behind him, complex holographic displays showed the intricate communication networks discovered within the Quantum Rentals hover vehicle. Mathematical sequences danced across screens, revealing patterns of communication that went beyond human understanding. Representatives from multiple countries listened intently. This wasn't just a scientific discovery. It was a declaration of humanity's technological sovereignty. The evidence was overwhelming. Hidden within what seemed like a simple vehicle rental system was a complex interstellar communication network. Fragments of technologies from unknown civilizations had been circulating through Earth's infrastructure, using rental companies as perfect cover. Minha stepped forward, her legal expertise transforming the scientific discovery into a powerful narrative. "This is not an invasion," she explained. "This is a sophisticated technology exchange system that has been operating without human consent." Government experts began analyzing the data. Each layer revealed more complexity. The communication networks were structured, intelligent, and far more advanced than current human technology. Quantum Rentals' entire operation was exposed. What had started as a simple lawsuit had become a global revelation. The company was just one node in a vast, hidden technological network that used Earth's systems as a camouflage. Strange things began happening globally. Communication systems experienced brief, unexplained interruptions. Electronic devices showed momentary signal distortions. It was as if the hidden network was responding to being discovered. Jae-hyuk's research had done more than expose a conspiracy. It had proven humanity's capability to detect, understand, and challenge advanced technological systems. International scientific communities were stunned. The evidence challenged everything they understood about technological development. These weren't just alien technologies. They were sophisticated communication systems that had been operating right under humanity's nose. "We are declaring our technological independence," Jahyuk announced. The room went silent. Government representatives from different countries began discussions. This wasn't just a scientific discovery. It was a potential diplomatic breakthrough with unknown technological civilizations. Minha had prepared legal frameworks that would prevent unauthorized technological exchanges. New international laws would be created to protect human technological sovereignty. The press conference became a turning point. Humanity was no longer a passive observer in the technological universe. They were active participants, capable of detecting and challenging advanced systems. As the conference concluded, something unexpected happened. Communication devices across the room briefly displayed a complex mathematical sequence, a response from the hidden network. It was almost like an acknowledgement. Jahyuk understood its meaning immediately. This wasn't a threat. It was a recognition. Humanity had proven its technological intelligence. News spread quickly. Social media exploded with discussions. Scientific forums were filled with analysis. The world was changing, and everyone knew it. Quantum rentals was just the beginning. The hidden technological network had been exposed, and humanity would never be the same. In the days that followed, international teams were formed. New research centers dedicated to understanding these complex communication systems were established. Jahyuk and Minha became global symbols of technological curiosity and human resilience. The signals continued to pulse, but now they pulsed with a difference. No longer hidden, no longer secret. Humanity had declared its place in a much larger, more complex technological universe. And this was just the beginning.